Guys, I opened my Roth IRA in June of 2023. So I've had it for 3 full contribution years now, essentially. I have maxed it out these last 3 years, those years being 2023 to 25. How much money is the account worth now? Well, that's what I want to take a look at today and show you guys. Before I show you guys, I just want to remind you what a Roth IRA is, how powerful the account is for building wealth. It is quite limited in how much you can contribute, but that's because it has one major tax benefit, and that is the benefit of tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals in retirement. It can really set you up to be in a great financial position later in life, and you won't have to worry about taxes on the gains on the money later. So it's a truly incredible account that we have here in the United States. I know that other countries have equivalents as well, like Canada and Australia and stuff, but yeah, if you guys are in your 20s, I cannot recommend enough to get your Roth IRA started as soon as possible. I opened mine when I was 26. Wish I would have started when I was 20 and maxed it out those years, and I would have much more in the account by now, but better late than never. Open the account as soon as possible and start contributing and investing your money, getting your money to work for you. All right, so let's look at my numbers. I do want to remind you of the contribution limits the last few years in case you forgot, and I'll put those up on the screen right now. So in 2023, the limit was $6,500, and then in 24 and 25, it was $7,000. This year in 26, we're actually getting a raise to $7,500 as the limit. So as of today, January 1st, my account is sitting at $31,656.60. I actually did contribute $2,000 today since we did flip to 2026. So technically my end of year number on December 31st was actually $2,000 less than this, aka 29,656. However, there is one caveat to that number as well, because I actually did a rollover contribution from my workplace plan back in December. We had like a switch of payroll or something at work, and so we ended up switching our 401k providers as well. And so I was able to roll over money from my Roth 401k at work. And so this number is just a little bit inflated there. Um, so yeah, that extra contribution I was able to get in there from that rollover, that was also approximately 2,964. So I'm also going to subtract that from my total as well, just to give a fair assessment of what my normal contributions were. So after I subtract those numbers, that actually leaves 26,692. So that's kind of the realistic number of making regular contributions to the Roth IRA, and then also with investment growth. So that breaks down into 20,500 of contributions, because remember those contribution limits were 6,500 in 2023, 7,000 in both 24 and 25. So 20,500 total of contributions, and therefore a little over 6,000 of growth. Not bad at all. There are 2 simple index funds that I'm holding in my Roth IRA right now. I did experiment a little bit with international stocks before, and then also SCHD, which was like a dividend ETF. But I ended up getting rid of both of those and just simplifying into 2 Fidelity index funds. And those are here on the screen, FXAIX and FSSNX. FXAIX is just a simple S&P 500 index fund, very low cost, very simple choice. The S&P 500 is just, it tracks the average of the top 500 US stocks, very historically well-performing index. And then also FSSNX, which gives a little bit of diversity for me into the small cap sector of stocks. Small cap stocks have kind of performed a little bit. They have underperformed a little bit from large caps over the last few years. So honestly, I would have made a little bit more money just putting all my money into the S&P 500, but I do like to stay a little bit diversified, and I'd like to think that maybe small cap stocks will have a little bit of a rally soon. They do tend to rally a little higher in bull markets, but who knows? Not investing advice necessarily. Now, I am 29 this year officially, and I'll be 30 towards the end of the year before I know it. My Roth IRA will become tax-free at age 59 and a half. That is the rule for it here in the US, and that's roughly 30 years away. Now, if I run a few numbers and just to see how much my money can potentially compound into, for these calculations, I'm going to go back to my number after my additional rollover that I mentioned earlier. So that's the 29,656. If I were to just leave that money compounding until age 59 and a half, when the withdrawals will be tax-free, without adding another single dollar, earning a 10% compounded return, I'll have $517,000 right around there. And as I said, that's adding $0 to my existing amount of 29,500 roughly. But if I continue to max out my Roth IRA every year using that new $7,500 maximum, now it's way higher, I'll have about 1.75 million. That's a pretty good amount to have tax-free in retirement. I know that people say these days that, a million isn't what it used to be. You should really shoot for like 10 million or whatever. But I mean, $1 million is still a lot. Like, I don't think even 5% of Americans ever even hit $1 million, let alone $100,000. And keep in mind, like nothing is stopping me from investing more money in other accounts. Nothing is stopping you from maxing out your 401k or Roth 401k or HSA, and even just putting additional money in your brokerage account or things like that. And if you are one of the lucky ones who has access to a Roth 401k at work, that's a great way to eventually get even more money into your Roth IRA and boost your tax-free dollars later. You could also do a rollover of a traditional 401k, but you will have to pay some taxes when you do that, and you might not want to do that depending on your situation. And as I mentioned earlier, this year, 2026, the limit has increased again to $7,500, which is very exciting because that's actually divisible by 12, so you can perfectly contribute $625 a month to split it evenly. If you can't afford to do that, to invest $625 a month, I think this is the account to do it in, especially if you're in your 20s and 30s. There's so much time for compounding to work in your favor and to benefit your future. The sacrifice now is something that your 40, 50, 60-year-old self will really appreciate and thank you for. Think about that when you're going to be older, and you'll be looking back at all the decisions you made, and you'll be proud of yourself for putting your future first and investing just a little bit of money. I use Fidelity for my Roth IRA. You could use Fidelity, but pretty much every other major brokerage will have one available for you. I know Robinhood is pretty popular. That's probably a great place to start for most people. And I honestly just recommend low-cost ETF and index funds, but not financial advice. It's just what has worked for me. But yeah, pretty simple video. Just wanted to show like how my Roth IRA has performed over the last 3 years. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and you are encouraged to continue to pursue financial independence and better your life as well. See you guys in the next one.